Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well during the end of this COVID-19 thing. I hope you've all stayed healthy and stayed safe. Today I want to do a real review of a 2018 Dodge Power Wagon. I'm saying real review because I've watched some of the reviews online and it seems like they're mostly just from a sales standpoint where they just want you to buy the damn truck. Okay. In other cases, it seems like it's the, a driver in the driver's seat and he's driving the truck. That's great. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to go through the truck with you a little bit, explain to you why I think this truck is the best bang for the buck. It does everything as advertised. It's not the cheapest truck, obviously, and there aren't a lot of them around. But if you're in the market to buy a used one, you might find this information very handy. If you're looking for a 2019, I know there were a few changes. I'm not sure what they are. You have to forgive me. But it's basically, from what I understand, the same truck. Okay, it still comes with the 4-link rear suspension, which, in my opinion, if you're going off-road, that's the suspension to have. All right. The downside, this truck will still tow damn near 10,000 pounds. Okay, but a 4-link, as I'm sure you know, is a little bit different than a leaf spring setup. Leaf spring setup, you're going to get a little bit less sag. Okay, 4-link has more flex. And to show you what I mean by a 4-link, I'm going to flip it. Okay, there's your 2 links on your axle. That goes up to a bracket right off the frame. Okay, 4 links. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to get the 4th one in there. Now, if you already know, listen, I'm sorry. This video is for everybody, not just, gearheads. So anyway, I've done a few modifications to my truck. One of the things I did was I purchased a 4-inch lift kit, but I did what I call pucks or spacers. Okay. I'm not looking to do any kind of drastic relocation of brackets and cutting and welding and that kind of stuff. This is my daily driver. Okay. But I did a 4-inch lift, just spacers. It still maintains a good portion of the factory ride. It's still a really comfortable truck. It runs great. It rides great. And I've got that extra, call it 4 inches of lift. Okay. From the factory, I believe these things come with 14.1 inches of ground clearance. I'm probably now pushing 18. Okay. So it's definitely more off-road worthy than what it was. And even from the factory, these things are unbelievable. The locking front and rear differentials are fantastic. The quick disconnect sway bar, which is automatic, you just push a button, is another huge lifesaver. It allows more articulation, so you can get all 4 tires to the ground, getting you more traction. All right. The other thing I have done, I'm a huge fan of Mickey Thompson Baja Claw radials, but as most of you know, not really making them anymore. They came out with the Baja Boss, which is supposed to be the replacement. Okay. The tread is still pretty aggressive. I'm going to show you a picture. Okay. These do run real nice on the highway, and they're excellent off-road. I still think the Baja, Mickey Thompson Baja Claws are better, but that's, my opinion. And we all know how I feel about opinions. But the 4-link rear suspension, I mean, the quick disconnect sway bar, the locking front rear differentials, and here comes Romeo. Hey, buddy. How you doing, huh? How are you doing? This is my neighbor, Romeo. What's up, buddy? This is my best friend, Tony, and my best friend, Kathy's dog. They just got him, I guess, about 6 months ago, something like that, 7 months ago. So he's a new addition to the family. So anyway, obviously the truck has all the usual stuff: power, power steering, power brakes, cruise, tilt, all that kind of shit. I think I said power windows. Mine does have automatic climate control, which in this day and age, I think just about every car does. But getting back to the nuts and bolts of it, I think I said I have done a throttle body spacer. If I haven't, I apologize. I have done a throttle body spacer. I've done a cold air intake, and I did the Diablo Sport Trinity It's a bolt-on programmer. It bolts onto your ECU, okay, or PCM, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Ooh, sorry. Anyway, this is a bolt-on and leave-on kind of thing. It's not like you have to plug it in, reprogram, take it out, and then when you want to tow something, you got to go out, plug it back in, reprogram. This is just a bolt-on item, and you can scroll through the options with your cruise control buttons on your steering wheel, which is actually pretty damn convenient. From the factory, my truck comes with about 400, I think it's 410 horsepower, okay? So we're estimating with those upgrades, the cold air intake, the throttle body spacer, and the Diablo Sport programmer, probably pushing about 470, 475. And I can tell you all three things might cost you $1,000, okay? Later on, I'm going to be doing a catback exhaust, and that's probably about it. It's, and like I said, my truck is still my daily driver. All right. The one big thing that I haven't seen any videos really get into is how to operate the locking front and rear differentials. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief little rundown here. I'm not going to start my truck because I'm parked in the backyard and my neighbors are here, so I'm going to flip it. All right, so you can see there's the switch, there's your button. Okay, so basically the truck is running. The way to really do it is to put the transmission in neutral, shift the truck into low, turn this knob to either rear locker or front and rear locker, okay? Then shift the transmission into drive and use the shifter on your little column shifter here and put it into drive 1 or first gear, okay? With that, the lights that coincide with these will start blinking and they'll stop blinking when everything's locked up. Shouldn't take real long, okay? The sway bar disconnect, you know, what I normally do is after I've switched this thing into front and rear lock and I put it, you know, I'm about to put it into first gear, I push the sway bar disconnect button, which is that one, okay? And I have yet to have a problem where it doesn't operate as it should. All right. So if you have any questions about that, or I wasn't totally clear, contact me. Let me know. Okay. Send me a message through the video, which I believe you can do. You can also email me directly. My email is tim.hoffmanjr@gmail.com. I do work, but all my emails go through my phone. I'll get it and I'll respond to you probably within the same day. Okay. So if there's any questions about that, let me know. So anyway, there was something else I said about, sorry about that, about somebody complaining that, well, you know, the rear differential doesn't give you, you know, from the bottom of the rear differential doesn't really give you 14 inches. Okay, well, if you're any kind of off-road enthusiast, you don't take large rocks down the center of your vehicle so that your tires sit to the left and to the right of it, okay? The object here is to go over whatever's there, the large rock, whatever the case may be is. A little life lesson. Back in 2000, I had a C5 Corvette, one of the first ones shipped to the East Coast. It was pewter metallic with the matching magnesium pewter wheels. Beautiful car, black leather interior, 6-speed, okay? Loved that car. I was going up the road and there was a rock in the middle of the road and I straddled it with my front and rear, with my tires. And basically the rock was just big enough that it went underneath the car, punctured a hole in my oil pan. Guess who needed a whole new motor on his brand new Vet? So, little life lesson for you. Don't take objects down the center of your vehicle. Either avoid them altogether or put them in line with, you know, your driver's side or passenger side set of tires and roll over it. Okay? Now, I don't really have any criticisms of this truck. I've seen people complain about gas mileage. Come on, guys. It's a truck. It's not a Prius. Okay? You're driving a 6.4 liter Hemi. You're lucky if you get 13 miles per gallon. Now, if you put that Diablo Trinity or Diablo Sport Trinity program when you bolt it to your computer, there is an economy setting. I have found that on the highway, if I'm just cruising, okay? I'm not flying. I'm cruising. I'm doing this within 5 miles an hour of the speed limit, okay? I can hit 14 and a half miles per gallon. So in a truck that weighs probably a little over 7,000 pounds, that's not that bad, okay? I'm actually pretty happy with that. Around town, I get between 12.6 and 13, okay? I don't drive through town very often. That's where all the stoplights are. So, you know, take that into consideration, I guess. But anyway, now this truck will tow just shy of 10,000 pounds as it's set up, okay? Keep in mind, this is a 4-link rear suspension. It's not a leaf spring, okay? So you hook something up, it's gonna sag a little bit, okay? For towing, in my opinion, leaf springs or airbags are the way to go, okay? Now, would I buy this truck if I was towing a couple of horses every weekend, you know, something like that? Probably not. I had the 3500 version of this that had the low leveling suspension on it, rear suspension on it. That was amazing. I towed a 35-foot camper trailer with that, and I would hook it up, the SN would sag down, the airbags would bring it right back up. It was fantastic. This is more of an off-road truck, you know, daily driver, pretty much whatever you want to use it for, okay? Now, I do take my truck off-road. Tell you a funny story. I bought it on a Thursday. That Saturday, I was off-roading it, and people were laughing at me because they're like, how could you spend, you know, so many thousands of dollars and you're taking your truck off-road? Well, that's what I bought it for. That's why I have a Power Wagon. That's why I didn't buy a 3500. You know, that's why I didn't buy a Denali. My plan is to take it off-road and enjoy the outdoors. Again, the show is called My Way of Life, not yours. All right. Trying to think what else. Let's see. You can see at the front of my truck. This is a huge advantage. Now, the headlights do work really, really well. As you can see, they're pretty funky. They kind of remind me of the old BMW headlights back in the 2000s. Headlights work great. High beams work great. I'll be honest, getting a little old. If I'm riding a highway or a back road and I can flip on that light bar, I do so. Okay. Neat little trick. I'm not trying to give anybody plugs. I don't get paid for this, just to be clear. But Track Supply, one of my favorite stores, carries, you know, Traveler brand automobile and ATV items and that kind of stuff. They have a little remote contraption that you can run. You wire this remote. You wire this box, okay? You wire it right to your battery, and then you run all of your hot and ground wires into that box, and it comes with a little remote control, okay? And you can sit there and whatever terminal you put it in, like, you know, 12 or whatever it is, 5 volt, 10 volt, 20 volt, whatever the hell it is, you push that coinciding button, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will automatically turn on those items. Meaning, guess what? You don't have to drill holes in your cab to run wires. And I am a huge fan of not having to drill holes in my truck when I don't have to. That just means, you know, you're not watertight anymore, or you're leaving extra holes for shit to get in, more cleaning. I like the little remote switches. They do work. I think they're a fantastic item. I don't even know if they're 60 bucks anymore. I know the first set I bought years ago was like 60 bucks. I don't even think they're that much anymore. But, yeah, I bought mine probably a year ago. So I don't even remember what I paid. But they're not expensive. And they are a huge, huge lifesaver and headache saver. Because it has 4 ports. You can wire 4 accessories right into that on your truck without having to drill hole number 1. And you're still only working off of the same remote. So that means you don't have 4 switches in your truck or 8 sets of wires minimum running into your truck, okay? If it's a power switch, then it's 3 wires for that power switch. So you could be running 12 extra wires into your truck. This little remote unit, I'm telling you, man, it's pretty freaking neat. As a matter of fact, I'll show you the remote, so if you see it. Now, some Tractor Supplies still carry it. Sometimes you have to order it online through Tractor Supply, but let's see if I can switch. This is the little remote control I'm talking about, okay? And if you want to see something really cool, if you notice, there's no wires here. It's just a battery, okay? So I am going to sit here and I am going to push number 1, and you should see that light bar come on. Look at that. Is that not the coolest damn thing in the world? I also recently acquired a set of rock lights, blue LEDs, because I like blue. It's my favorite color. Another little life hack. You can see it right there. Well, I have it wired into the switch. So guess what? I push number 4, and that sucker comes on. Okay. So, a little life hack if you want to install rock lights into your truck, and they're little ones like that, little LEDs. Instead of drilling out your fender and running all kinds of crazy shit, trying to reach the bolts in the back, you know, blah, 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 killing yourself, trying to get into a small area with big hands. Neat little suggestion that a buddy of mine had. Matter of fact, it was Tony, next friend. Guess what that's held on with? If you notice, there's no bolts in there. Now, it is a little dirty. Sorry about that. As you can see, I do off-road my truck. But anyway, if you notice, there's no bolts in there. It's absolutely amazing what a little bit of, heavy-duty Velcro will do. Okay, those things have been held on for the last month by just Velcro. That's it. Okay. That was so freaking easy to do. I'm actually thinking about buying a second set and doing the same damn thing and just putting another set in there to make them a little bit brighter, a little bit more noticeable, a little bit more blue. Velcro holds them on just fine. They don't weigh nothing. And, worst case scenario, you've got the wire from the back of the light going up into your engine compartment. So even if on the extremely slim chance that the Velcro fails, the light's still not going to go anywhere. Okay. But one little tidbit of information though, if you are going to run Velcro inside your wheel well, do yourself a favor. Take time to clean the wheel well very, very well. Okay. I used soap and water, just hot soap and water, just soap, to clean the wheel well really good. And then I got alcohol wipes, and I wiped the area where the Velcro was going. This way I knew the area was clean and the Velcro was going to take. Okay. That's probably about it. Although I'm a big fan of cab clearance lights. Power Wagon has cab clearance lights. You know the expression, Power Wagon don't care. It really doesn't. I've taken it through mud. I've taken it rock crawling. I've taken it creek crossings, water crossings. I've driven it through snow, ice, heavy rains, downpours, some minor flooding. The worst I do really, unless I'm off-roading, is to throw that thing into 4 high and roll down the road. Now I'll slow down and drive at reasonable speed. But that's pretty much all you need to do. Okay, so from my previous episode, if you did happen to watch it, I did tell you that I was going to end every video with a small passage. Well, I'm sure most of you, or at least I hope most of you, have experienced some country music on some level. I am a fan. I like country music. I like bluegrass. I also like a little rock and roll too. AC/DC fan for years. Okay. But anyway, so I'm sure you're familiar with the song John Cougar, John Deere, John 3:16, sung by Keith Urban. Good song. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to read John 16 through 19. All right, just to kind of give you an idea of what that song's talking about. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us. We ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. If anyone has material possessions and sees his brother in need, but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth. This, then, is how we know that we belong to the truth and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence. In other words, take care of the ones you love and even the ones that you don't love. Okay, there's an old saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. You never know, man. Some of those enemies could just have a misconception of you and have formed the wrong opinion. Spend a few minutes, talk to them. Find out why they don't like you. Maybe you already know. Maybe you did something that pissed them off. Maybe it's time to say you're sorry. Or find out why they don't like you. Maybe they got some misinformation somewhere and formed their own opinion. Okay, remember what I said about opinions, guys. All right, so anyway, God bless y'all. I hope you all stay safe and enjoy this beautiful weather we're having. As you can see, I've got 2 quads behind me. I'll probably be on one of them sometime in the very near future. Take care. Bye-bye.